It's spooky season. All right. It is objectively the best time of the year. And that means that I know that all of you have begun planning your obligatory Halloween one-shot. But wait, before you begin, a spooky D&D one-shot will be fine, but if you really want to make it scary, you're going to be fighting kind of uphill. Partly because it's just so hard to kill 5e characters, and partly because the system itself doesn't do anything to add horror. The game is made for epic fantasy, and horror is a part of epic fantasy, but the game itself is made for awesome combats. Really, that's like kind of what it does best. But absolutely, you can make it work. I do horror in 5e all the time. But for a one-shot, why not reduce the friction? Make it easier on yourself, and even more than that, choose a game that broadens your horizons and makes your Halloween one-shot memorable. So within the creepy confines of this video, I have assembled 5 games that are rules light enough that you can learn in the remaining couple weeks leading up to the big spooky day, and which will significantly broaden your horizon for tabletop role-playing games. And all of them, with the exception of one, have excellent one-shots pre-written or are baked in as one-shots themselves. Who knows? You might find something that you really love and that will stick with you for the rest of your life. Okay, so we'll start talking about the ones that I've talked about on the channel, and we'll get kind of more obscure as I go. And we'll end up with this pretty sweet hidden gem of a horror game. So first off, let's talk about a game that I can't shut up about lately. Mothership. I need to go get my coffee. I'll be right back. All right. So in my first video about Mothership, I said Mothership is a thin and growing crack in an astronaut's helmet. And I still think that stands. This game is horror. It's also incredibly easy to learn and even easier to teach. I mean, heck, just watch my video on it right here, zap, and you will learn the entire system very easily. The beginning couple minutes are actually specifically for your players to just learn the core rules in just a few minutes. Now, technically, Mothership is a D100 system that takes its inspiration from the old school Renaissance. That basically means that it cuts down on rules fat in order to make a sleek game that favors players who engage with the fiction. And it favors interpretive rulings from the game runner rather than having a rule for every little thing. You are encouraged to, as the Mothership Player's Survival Guide puts it regularly, use common sense. So the game books are actually in this tiny zine format. They are cheap, they are packed with content, and there is a mess of third-party books out there full of adventures and rules and other stuff. I just bought $100 of third-party content. This is only a small portion of it. This actually isn't part of it. This is only a small portion of it. I got a bunch of stuff, and I'm gonna be doing a video reviewing and going over all of it so that you can have an idea of what's gonna have the juice for your table. Look forward to that video soon. But for your one-shot, I actually recommend another bug hunt. Just use the first section of the book, and it actually comes with a bunch of advice in it for how to run the first section just as a one-shot, which is super helpful. This comes in the core box, or you could just make up your own one-shot, which there's a bunch of advice for that in the Warden's Operations Manual, which also comes in the core set, and which I did a whole video on how awesome this thing is. Zap. So check that out. The core set sells for $60 and has everything you need to play in it, including, as I said, just another bug hunt. It's the best RPG deal of the year. But if you want a little bit more, you can get the deluxe set, which is what I bought into, which comes with some extra goodies, and which I think is really worth the extra price. It's also like a perfect pack to bring all of your Mothership content to your friend's house to go play. I love it. So next up is a game that I fell in love with in 2018 when I ran into it on the Gen Con floor. And then I watched it sweep the Ennies that year. It is Delta Green. First of all, Delta Green shouldn't exist. This game is about a secret agency hidden among the decaying alphabet soup of the American government that handles the horrors of the Lovecraftian universe. And it is dark, it is deadly, it is bleak, it is so freaking unique. The game generally plays like reverse X-Files, right? You go to the place, you find the spooky thing, and then you burn it to the ground and cover it up again so that Mulder and Scully can never find it again. Now, Delta Green is a simplified version of the classic Call of Cthulhu. It takes that game's kinda intense rules and really slims them down in a remarkably elegant way that only people who had ran Call of Cthulhu for literal decades could do. The D100 system runs quickly and works amazingly well for running investigations, and it provides punishingly brutal combat. Just what you need for a horror game climax. Now, this system has had multiple successful Kickstarters, and it has 2 of my top 3 modules of all time and one of my favorite adventure anthologies to its name. But for your one-shot, I have to recommend Lover in the Ice, which is absolutely horrifying. And let's be clear, it requires some serious trigger warnings before you put it in front of your gaming table. So if that's a little bit too much for you, I'd recommend Reverberations, which will still make your skin crawl without making you puke. You can get Need to Know, which is the free starter rulebook, for free on DriveThruRPG, or you can get the core set PDF for $50. The links for all of that and Mothership and the rest of everything is going to be down below in the description. Lover in the Ice sells for $6 on DriveThru, and Reverberation sells for $3 on DriveThru. So fairly cheap after you get the core set, though you can run it all with the Need to Know, actually. Next up is a classic and actually diceless game. One of those games that anyone who has played talks about it for the rest of their lives. 10 Candles is one of those games that you run once and no one shuts up about it for a year. It's an Emmy Award sweeper. It's an absolute legend. 10 Candles is a zero prep tabletop role-playing game. In fact, it defines itself as a storytelling game that is designed for one-shot, 2 to 4 hour sessions of tragic horror. It works best with 1 GM and 3 to 5 players, and it's played by the light of 10 tea light candles, which provide atmosphere and also act as a countdown timer for the game. They allow you to literally burn your character sheet away as you play. The game is emotional, it is, big surprise, horrifying, and it is so atmospheric. I mean, the setup of the game does most of the work for you. And honestly, your players and the way that the game played does the rest of the work. Now, the game identifies as tragic horror because at the end, invariably, when the last candle goes out, everybody dies. The resources to learn are all on the website of Calvary Games, and the PDF costs $10. Easy. So those are the kind of the commonly known games, right? Delta Green has been around for so long. It actually originally was a Call of Cthulhu like break-off. Mothership is, people are talking about it this year, at least in my circles. And 10 Candles is just one of those games that is going to stay with us for a long time. If you are enjoying this list, or if you are enjoying my content in general, please like, please subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get more updates. I'm going to have hopefully 2 more videos in spooky season. And please comment down below with your favorite things about these games, stories of your favorite horror one-shot, or games that you think I've missed that I should add. Or just leave your favorite spooky emoji in the comments down below. It really does help more people just like you see my videos, and that just means more better games to play. All right, now let's get into some of our slightly more obscure winners. This next one is the solution to all of your Stranger Things needs. There have been plenty of attempts to make a Stranger Things RPG. I mean, Tales from the Loop fits that bill, Kids on Bikes. It's a well-attempted thing. All of those games are remarkable in their own light. But for me, Rememorex has something special that none of these other games have. And that's that it has this incredible focus on nostalgia. Rememorex is a game of liquid 80s nostalgia that you can drink like a can of RC Cola. Written by Sean Jaffe, this game features this incredible setting that is so cookie cutter 80s New Jersey, but also so specific from this man who lived it and loved it and misses it. The tiny town that he has written into the setting of this game is so tangible that you can practically burn the roof of your mouth on the Sbarro Mall pizza. Woven into the mundanity of suburban life are some spooky goings-on that might include some shady government organization. I'm gonna be honest, I have never run this game. I have played it several times and I've enjoyed it immensely. Highly recommend. This game has the cleanest and most narratively satisfying character creation, and it can be done in remarkable time. And then when you start playing, the simple D6 system is very narratively focused, but is amplified by these mechanics that are inspired by poorly maintained blockbuster VHS rentals. So you can use tracking errors, montages, and rewinds to kind of adjust and play with the fiction of the story, doing flashbacks or messing with the timeline of the story. It is absolutely remarkable. You end up throwing dice and telling stories at this incredible speed. So you can grab a copy of this unique game at DriveThruRPG for $15. And I have to recommend also that the Summer of Arawak expansion can be snagged for an additional $6 for some summer camp themed horror if you want to go that direction. So we made it. Here's the last game. It is really funky and it's just begging for a one-shot. It is Brindlewood Bay. Now, this is the horror game that you didn't know you needed. It is self-described as a cozy murder mystery game, where you play a group of old women in the small town of the titular Brindlewood Bay. And these old women make up the Murder Mavens Mystery Book Club. Now, the Mavens find themselves somehow tangled up in murder mysteries in real life and end up investigating these crimes in their small town that has this incredible amount of homicide per capita. Now, the reason that there's this recent rising surge of violence is that there is an ancient cult trying to bring a sea-logged horror up from the deep and release it upon the world in a cataclysmic apocalypse. And the only standing between this tiny town and the world and this doom are your mavens. That is correct. This is Golden Girls meets H.P. Lovecraft high-fiving on I-9 going 100 miles an hour. This game has a slick character creation system that helps you customize your maven and then connect them to the other old ladies, and then it drops you into a system that is almost powered by the apocalypse, but without the part where the dice don't matter ever. I'm a little critical of PBTA. So on the DM side, it does this brilliant thing where it doesn't actually give you a mystery. It just provides the pieces, and then you focus on the collaborative nature of TTRPGs, and you and your players put the pieces together yourselves like you're playing mystery Lego. The game comes with 5 single sheet scenarios and the tools to make your own also, but these scenarios set up the murder. So they give you the hook. They give you a cast of interesting suspects. They throw several locations at you where you might be able to create some drama. And they give you a list of interesting clues that could be anything from like a blood stain hidden under a chair to arcane script scrawled on a wall in strange purple ink to the brake lines cut on a fancy car. Now, as you play, your mavens go around collecting clues until they decide to get together and theorize. When they theorize together, you all come up with a theory that uses the clues, pinning the murder on a particular suspect and explaining it. Then you roll dice, gaining bonuses for the number of different clues that you use to support your theory. And then if you succeed, your theory is correct, and there's degrees of success so the GM can make like interesting complications. Or if you fail, you're wrong, and the GM reacts back. So this open-ended conversation about the murder means that this is the perfect game for a one-shot. I don't know if you've ever had this experience running a murder mystery as a one-shot, but your players can grab onto the wrong thing and then suddenly they're solving the wrong mystery. This makes sure that that does not happen. Your players move forward, gather clues, create some drama, make some trouble, and then they move forward with solving this mystery, and whatever they come up with is either right or it's wrong, and you reward them or punish them accordingly. Now you can grab the core game on DriveThruRPG for $15, and its expansion, Nephews in Peril, is also available for the same price, which nearly quadruples the content for the game. That's it. Those are 5 games that I think are excellent. I should shout out before I go, one of the sister games to Brindlewood Bay, The Between, which is like Brindlewood Bay, but instead of playing old ladies, you're playing like a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen collection of characters in Victorian London. And it is getting a new edition on Kickstarter right now. I encourage you to go pledge. The art looks incredible, and I have been playing that game for half a year now, and it has been such a blast. Thank you so much for coming by, listening, watching. I hope you like, subscribe, comment, do all the things. And if you like this content and you like what you're seeing here and you want to support the channel monetarily and directly and help me keep doing this instead of having to go back to bartending, I encourage you to check out my Patreon, patreon.com/milesawaygames. Post something every Saturday, as well as anything that I'm playtesting or working on. I just try to provide there and here content that is about tabletop role-playing games that is thoughtful and critical and interesting. Hopefully gets your mind working. All right, thanks again for watching. Stay miles away from boredom, and I'll see you next time.